The connection today is actor Robert Benchley. The film is The Major and the Minor. Wait a second, Ginger Rogers is in this too. Not only are there two connections in this film, but this is the third film in a row that I've reviewed with her in it. Not to mention that I briefly mentioned Billy Wilder in my last review, and this is a Billy Wilder film. I'm getting off track. After dealing with a dickhead client in New York, a woman, played by Ginger Rogers, decides to go back home to Iowa by train. However, she only has enough money for a child's ticket, so she disguises herself as, what else? A child. Buys the ticket, and soon she's bound for Iowa. However, while on the train, she meets a major, played by Rita, Milland, who actually believes she's a young girl and allows her to sleep the night in the cabin. Then, Milland's fiancée, played by Rita Johnson, who plans on meeting Milland on the train, comes aboard and finds Rogers sleeping in his room. Assuming the worst, she accuses him of being unfaithful and runs out. Determined to get his fiancée back, Milland has Rogers come with him to a military academy to straighten out the whole thing. Of course, once there, the story gets even more complicated. This was the first film that Billy Wilder both wrote and directed, and it's one hell of a debut. It's so witty and has some great dialogue exchanges. Like most of Wilder's films, there's this rhythmic pace everyone has when they speak, and it's almost catchy in a way. Wilder also does a great job at employing the Lubitsch touch. The Lubitsch touch is when every time we think the plot is going to go somewhere, it goes an entirely different route, and it gives us what we never knew we wanted to see. It keeps the audience on their toes, and it makes it more engaging to watch. More comedies should take note of Wilder's techniques and apply it to their films, because films like these are a rare breed, and I wish they were still made today. Many people have a problem with Ginger Rogers in this role since, well, she doesn't even remotely look like she's an adolescent, but that's part of the joke. The plot point that Rita Johnson seeing Rogers in Milland's room is to show that not everybody is convinced she's a child. This film was semi-remade as You're Never Too Young with Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis, and in that film, Martin sees through Lewis's disguise and can't figure out why everyone else is falling for it. Maybe if they did more stuff like that in this film, people probably would like it more. Besides that, I think Rogers is perfect. Honestly, this film made me realize how versatile of an actress she was. Hell, if you look back on the past two films I reviewed, each role was drastically different. She handles Wilder's dialogue with ease, and does a phenomenal job with the slapstick aspect of the film. I will say that I'm not the biggest Ray Milland fan. I feel like his performances are usually too stale. Sometimes he surprises me, but in this film, Wilder uses his wooden persona and pokes fun at it, with how gullible he is. I think he and Ginger have a really good dynamic. Kinda makes me wish that they became an on-screen duo like Hudson and Day, or, well, Astaire and Rogers. Okay, I know they made musicals, but they were definitely more comedic. Anyways, Robert Benchley is also a really great addition to the cast. He's one of those comedians you either love or hate, and I really do think I love him. I remember watching this film with one of my friends and laughing my ass off whenever Benchley was on screen, but my friend just sat there in silence, waiting for his scenes to end. The good news is that if you're not a fan, his character doesn't overstay his welcome. With a good portion of Wilder's filmography culminating some of the greatest movies of all time, it's easy to see how this one got lost in the shuffle. Well, if you want to see how the greatest writer-director of all time got his start, then pop this one in and see for yourself what makes it so good.